Welcome to my channel. My name is Ria, and in this video we are going to go through the astrology for this week. But before we begin, I do want to let you know that on my channel I post a monthly horoscope where I get into the sun and rising signs. I post new moon and full moon energy videos where I talk about the collective energy, and then I get into where that moon might be for your sun or rising sign. And then I do weekly horoscope videos where I talk about the collective energy. So if you're interested in any one of these videos, you can always watch them on my YouTube channel. So now let's talk about what's happening this week. And this is an important week because we had the Uranus North Node conjunction on Sunday, right? Yesterday on Sunday we had that, and you can see this on the chart. I've marked it out. It's right here. And what this energy brings is change. It's this energy of breaking free from something in a sudden, surprising, shocking manner, right? Uranus and the North Node. And this conjunction happened after 15 years. So after 15 years, we have this immense energy to break free from something, this immense energy that's demanding us to change. And that was yesterday. And today, on August 1st, what's happening is Mars is going to meet up with Uranus exact, right? And let's talk about this energy a little bit. Mars is the planet of action, right? It's the planet that says, I want this, I'm going to go after this. It's this warrior-like energy. Mars is the go-getter. Mars is all about taking action, making things happen, taking initiative. That's Mars. And Uranus is this energy of change. It's this energy of progressive change. And Uranus is unpredictable. Uranus is extreme. Uranus is a lot of energy that comes in bursts, right? Now Uranus wants us to be our unique, authentic selves, right? Uranus wants us to break free from the old that doesn't work anymore, the old that comes in the way of us being our true, unique, authentic selves. So together, this energy can mean a lot of initiative, a lot of courage, a lot of energy there for us to be able to change, to be able to break out of something, to be able to break free from something that's not in alignment with us anymore. That's the positive manifestation. On the other hand, since Mars is the planet of anger and aggression, and Uranus is extreme, Uranus is unpredictable, Uranus is sudden, this can be sudden bursts of anger, a lot of feeling frustrated, right? And the key with this energy, as it was with the Uranus North Node energy that happened on 31st July, is to take action, to make that change happen. Take action to break free from something, right? That's this energy. And if you don't use it, right? If we don't take those steps, if you don't take that initiative to change, if we don't use that energy to break free from something that might not be for us any longer, then we can feel frustrated. So this is that energy. On Monday, Mars is going to join up with Uranus exact, and these are slow moving energies, right? They are very slow. And what this means is that yes, the conjunction happened yesterday, Sunday, 31st July. But it's a long cycle, right? It's a long cycle between Uranus and the North Node, right? It's not going to be for many years that they meet up again. The last time they met up was 2007, and when they met up in 2007, they started this new cycle that would complete itself now. And now they are starting this new cycle that will take many, many years to complete itself. And what that means in our personal lives and on the global scale in general is that this is the beginning, this is the starting point, this is the seeding point of that energy of change, right? It's not that it happened yesterday and it's done with. No, it's embedded itself, it's seeded itself, and the change, the breaking free can take weeks, months, even years. But now is that seeding point, right? Now is that, okay, you know what, this is what I need to let go of. So this is happening on Monday, and on Monday we do have the moon in Virgo, and the moon in Virgo is an energy that can help us really organize in our lives, plan ahead, right? Make those lists, get to that to-do list, and really start planning. Okay, you know what, this is how I'm going to do it. This is what needs to be done. It's also an energy that helps us focus on the mundane, on the day-to-day, right? Cleaning, that sort of thing. That's very Virgo, right? Getting things perfect, right? So we have that energy to plan, to get organized, to make things perfect, to focus on the mundane, whether that's cleaning things, whether that's planning something for the week, that sort of thing. And at the same, okay, as Mars and Uranus conjunct exact, the moon is going to trine Pluto at the same time, and the moon is representative of our emotions in astrology, and it moves really fast, right? It changes signs every 2.5 days, and when it aspects a planet through its transit, it affects us on an emotional level. And right now with Pluto is the planet of transformation, right? So with this aspect, which is about 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it's about 5 p.m. Pacific time that the Mars Uranus conjunction will come exact, which means for most of the world this might happen, not most of the world, some parts of the world this might happen on Tuesday. But coming back to the moon trining Pluto is the planet of transformation, right? This can help us transform our emotions in a certain way. It can help us do a lot of emotional releasing, right? It can help us access things that we might have locked away, buried, hidden emotionally, and it can bring that to the surface and help us deal with those emotions and release them and transform in subtle ways. So that's another thing that's on Monday. And towards the end of the day, at about 10 p.m. Pacific time, the moon does change signs, which means some parts of the world, this is going to be Tuesday night, Tuesday morning, that the moon enters the sign of Libra. There we go. It's entered the sign of Libra. So the next 2.5 days with the moon in Libra, right, we might be more focused on relationships. We might be more focused on trying to find a balance in our lives with the moon in Libra. And then on Tuesday, right, we have an important event on Tuesday. And what happens is that Venus here makes an aspect with Uranus. And it's going to come exact on Tuesday. And Venus is the planet of relationships. It's the planet of financial matters. It's the planet of our appearance, right? And now it's contacting Uranus, the planet of change, the planet of epiphanies, insights, awakenings. And what this can bring is a change to maybe something in our relationships or projects or finances or appearances or self-worth, right? And this can be quite sudden, and this can also just be a change in the way we approach these things in our lives. So that's Venus in a sextile with Uranus. And on Wednesday, Venus does get into an exact sextile with Mars, which means that we have that energy and drive to make those changes to our relationships and projects and self-worth and values and skills and appearances, right? So I'm going to treat this energy as one because they're just so close, right? They're just so close. So changes can happen to our relationships, changes can happen to our projects and how we look, how we keep our appearances, that sort of thing. And we do have that energy to work on those changes, right? We do have that drive. If that drive wasn't there before, right, if there was some feeling or some desire to make certain changes to relationships or something you're working on, or to your financial matters or your appearance, if it was at the back of your head that, yeah, you know what, I feel like doing this, I feel like making this change with this, suddenly you can get that energy, yeah, I'm doing it, I can do it now, I feel like doing it now, that sort of thing. And that is the highlight of Tuesday, I believe, Venus sextiling Uranus, right? And the moon does make a few aspects on Tuesday. The moon does move on, right? It does oppose Jupiter. It will oppose Jupiter when the moon hits 8 degrees. And what this means is that The moon is our emotions, right? And Jupiter is the planet of optimism and hope and lessons and joy. So what this means is that we must keep that hope and optimism alive, right? We need to work on that with this aspect with the moon. And this is not all day on Tuesday, but it's like a few moments. I believe this is 11 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. So some parts of the world this might be Tuesday afternoon, other parts this might be Tuesday evening. So that's something we need to work on, keeping that faith alive, keeping that hope alive, keeping that optimism alive, right, when the moon aspects Jupiter like this. And then on Wednesday, what's going to happen is that the moon will make a few aspects, right? The moon will, from here, oppose Chiron. Right, it will oppose Chiron, and this is, okay, let's move up the chart and see it actually, why not? So let's do that. So this is, we've moved on to Wednesday. I think it's 4 a.m. Yeah, 3 to 4 a.m. in the morning. The moon at 16 degrees opposes Chiron. Right, and Chiron is the energy that wants us to heal. It says, hey, you need to heal, but to heal you need to face your wounds. So that's what Chiron does. And now our emotions, the moon is making an aspect with it, and an opposition is not a very easy aspect, right? Because they're opposing, they're looking at each other like directly, right? So this is going to ask us to look at where we feel inadequate, maybe look at where we feel less, look at where we feel emotionally wounded, look at our emotions or thoughts or anything, our wounds that come in the way of, you know, us being our true selves or us feeling wounded. So this is going to ask us to look at those wounds, look at those thoughts, look at those places where we feel hurt and say, okay, now that you've looked at those places, now that you've dealt with those wounds, now it's time to heal. So it's a healing energy, but the healing is always with face those wounds, look at them, and looking at our wounds, facing that pain that we might have put aside, not dealt with. We all do that, right? We all have pain, we all have situations, circumstances that we brush aside, that we kind of don't deal with. And what Chiron does is it says, no, you need to deal with that, you need to deal with these emotions. Pluto does it as well, but Chiron does it as well. And then it says, once you look at these wounds, you will heal. So this is that moment, 4 a.m. Pacific time. Some places this might be early morning Wednesday, other places it might be evening Wednesday, but this is that energy that's going to make us heal, but only after we truthfully acknowledge what's wounding us. And the healing has to come from within, right? Chiron is the one that healed himself. So with Chiron, the healing is never outside of ourselves. It's always inside of ourselves. We need to deal with it. We need to heal from it. That internal dialogue, that internal process needs to take place for us to heal fully. And that's 4 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. And then moving on to about Wednesday afternoon, right? So 2 p.m. I believe. Yeah, 2 to 3 p.m. Sorry. So the moon here trines Saturn. Positive aspect between the moon and Saturn. Saturn is a decision maker. Saturn is the one that really loves structure, really loves order, right? It comes into a house, it comes into a sign and says, this is not working, let's fix this. Okay, that's Saturn, right? If something is pending, it says, no, decide. Commit, decide, set it in stone, commit to it. That's what Saturn does. And now it's contacting, actually the moon is contacting Saturn, and what this can bring is an emotional decision, an emotional commitment, a moment where we do something serious in our lives. Saturn is very serious energy, right? It's all about work, it's all about discipline, it's all about reaching the top. So this is that point where if we've been wavering, right, if we've been confused about something, a decision might come. Or if we've been thinking, is this what I want to commit to or not, a commitment might take place. So it's that energy that can help us decide and commit to something and streamline our lives. And this is a positive aspect, so it's not going to feel challenging, because usually when the moon contacts Saturn in a challenging aspect, it feels challenging, right? Because Saturn does not really get along with the moon much. It's simply because the moon, our emotions, like to run free, right? I mean, emotions don't really have a structure. Emotions don't really have discipline, if you will. But Saturn is all about discipline. Saturn is all about structure. Saturn is all about doing the work no matter how you're feeling. So in that sense, it feels difficult on our emotions. So that's why they don't really get along that much, but this is a positive aspect. So this can help us do serious things. It can help us decide. It can help us streamline or commit to something. And this is, I believe, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So some parts of the world this might be Wednesday evening, other parts this might be early morning Thursday, right? Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that sort of thing. And then by the evening on Wednesday, the moon does move on and it squares Pluto, right? So the planet of transformation, right, is making a challenging aspect with our emotions. And what this can bring is a transformation, need to release, a need to heal, right? But since it's a challenging aspect, this might feel slightly stressful. This might make us feel a little low. So just be mindful of that. Overall, this is about transforming. This is about changing something in our emotions or releasing certain emotions. And on Thursday, we do have Mercury here entering the sign of Virgo. So I'm going to move up the chart and then we'll see it happen. And there we go. So Mercury here has entered the sign of Virgo. This is like 1 a.m. Pacific time, and for most of the world this might be early morning Thursday or like Thursday afternoon, even noon, 1 p.m., that sort of thing. And Mercury rules Virgo, right? Along with Gemini, Mercury rules Virgo as well. And what that means is that it works really well there. And what that means is that Mercury, our logical mind, communication, our day-to-day routine, diet, health, exercise, all these things work well, right? When Mercury is in Virgo or Gemini, the signs it rules or the signs it likes. So logical energy is very strong, rational energy is very strong here. Communication can be supported with Mercury in Virgo. So can anything to do with your routine, diet, lifestyle, exercise, that sort of thing. So Mercury is now in Virgo on Thursday, and I think that is the most important thing. But the moon does change signs into the sign of Scorpio on Thursday as well. So there we go, it's changed signs. Now this is 5 a.m. in the morning, right? 5 a.m. in the morning Thursday. And yeah, so the moon enters the sign of Scorpio. Now the moon is in a different sign, which means a shift in energy in subtle ways, right? The moon is our emotions, and it really does not like to be in Scorpio. It's debilitated in Scorpio, right? And why is that? Why is the moon debilitated in Scorpio? Scorpio is all about going so deep into something that you uncover the deep hidden truth, right, about that thing or about that place or about that topic, whatever it is. So it's this energy that likes to really see through everything and go right to the crux of the matter, the core of the matter, the heart of the matter. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, right? It's a very transformative sign. It's all about facing the dark to rise into the light, right? It's all about that spiritual transformation that takes place, the sign of Scorpio. It's about facing the deepest part of yourself, facing the darkest part of yourself, so that you can move on from there. And that's why the moon doesn't like that, right? The moon is our emotions. Our emotions do not feel comfortable when we have to do that deep inner work of seeing parts of ourselves that we may not like, or facing the wounds that we have, that we may have buried and hidden. So it's that an inner work, right, that takes place in the sign of Scorpio, of bringing everything to the surface, facing it, and then releasing it, right? It's about spiritual transformation as well. Pluto is all about spiritual transformation. So our emotions feel that they're not doing well when the moon is in Scorpio because there's so much going on, but that's just one perspective, right? The other perspective is that because we do this inner work, because we are willing to go so deep within ourselves and face those wounds and that pain, our emotions in the long run will feel better. So the moon in Scorpio is all about doing deep inner work. It's all about facing things, dealing with things that we may not want to deal with, that we may have hidden and buried within ourselves. And the moon here does make a few important aspects, right? It does make a few important aspects. So I'm going to move up the chart and we'll see those. So let's move on. Okay, so the first important thing is that the moon here is squaring the sun. Right now, this is 5 a.m. in the morning, Friday. So Pacific time. For some places, this might be Friday morning, this might be Friday afternoon, and some other places, this might just be Friday evening. So the moon squares the sun, and what this begins is the first quarter square of the moon. Right now, this is a period of about 7 days or so, all the way up until August 11th, when we have the full moon in Aquarius. And this period of 7 to 8 days is about adjustments, it's about changes, it's about being open to change, connected to the new moon energy, right? So on 28th July, we had the new moon in Leo. So this is the week where we work on incorporating that new moon energy in a big way, right? Work on the changes we need to make in our lives so that that new energy can be incorporated in our lives. So this is that week, and Friday, 5 a.m. Pacific time, it begins. And then moving on, the moon in Scorpio is going to make a few aspects that I would like to speak about. Okay, so let's get to that. There we go. So the moon does conjunct the south node, right? And what that means is also that it opposes all this, right? So this is about 1 p.m. Pacific time. Some places this might be evening Friday, some places this might be late night Friday, other places this might even be like midnight, 1 a.m., that sort of thing. Saturday morning, Friday night. And the moon is our emotions, and it's meeting the south node. The south node is representative of the past, right? But the south node is also called Ketu, and it is also representative of letting go. It's also representative of, detachment. The south node is detachment as well. And when the moon conjuncts the south node, right, we might need to let go of a lot of emotions. We might revisit the past emotionally to let it go. We might get detached from something, right? Something that is not good for us, maybe that's not serving us anymore. So it's this energy of detachment and letting go and revisiting the past. So we are doing that, but let's not forget that at the same time, it is opposing this energy, the energy of sudden change, the energy of unpredictable change, the energy of breaking free. So this emotional period, right, on Friday when the moon is in Scorpio, especially once it starts making aspects with the south node, the north node, Uranus and Mars, can be a major letting go, right? It can be a major point of a major emotional turning point, so to speak, because it is opposing Uranus as well. Sudden changes to our emotions, sudden changes that help us let go of the past, sudden changes that can help us detach emotionally from something in our lives, right? To align more with the future, the North Node, Rahu. And since Mars is there as well, and the moon will move on slowly and aspect Mars as well, what this can also mean is that we have that energy to really make those changes, but since it's a stressful aspect, we need to watch out for anger, we need to watch out for feeling frustrated, we need to watch out for feeling frazzled, right? Uranus. So this is that moment where a major emotional release, a major emotional turning point can take place to really incorporate, the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction energy. That is still very, very intense. Look at how close they are, 1822, 1846. It's still very intense. It's still very strong. Yes, it peaked out on 31st July, but that doesn't mean it's done with. They're so close, right? So this is that point. And the moon will move on. It will move on and it will square Saturn, right? Now, there we go. Moon square Saturn. Now this is what, 8 p.m. Friday Pacific time. Some parts this might be, late night Friday, other parts this might be early morning Friday. So it just depends on your location when this is happening for you. But I just mentioned that the moon does not really like to contact Saturn that much. But this point is an emotional decision point, right? What could happen now is that since we've done so much of emotional release, emotional work when the moon conjuncted the south node and opposed the south node, Uranus and Mars, this is the point where, those changes, that emotional release, that detachment can actually be set in stone, become permanent, right? Because a lot of the times, we say, I'm done with this, or we say, this is not going to hurt me anymore, this is not going to bother me anymore, but then something happens and the same thing bothers us, the same thing hurts us, and then again we say, no more, I'm done. But we're not done, right? But but when it comes to Saturn, that's when we get done. That's when we get, this way or that way, right? So this is that point where all the emotional changes, the emotional release, the emotional catharsis that we might have done when the moon conjuncted the south node and opposed Uranus, the north node and Mars, this is that point where it gets permanent. This is that point where it gets final. This is that point of commitment to a new emotional way of being, right? So this is that energy, but this is a square, which means we may not feel the best. One, two, we may need to do some emotional work on ourselves to be able to reach this point, right? So just keep that in mind. And this is Friday, and my Pluto, right, it's at 21 degrees of Scorpio. So Saturn's been squaring it, it will square it again, and this whole conjunction is kind of opposing it. Mars is opposing it. So we'll see. And last year my Venus is at 12 degrees of Scorpio, right? So last year it was right in the middle of the Saturn-Uranus square. This year, at least, Uranus has moved on, Saturn has moved on, letting my Venus be a little bit. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that. Anyway, moving on to the next important thing, which happens on Saturday. So I'm going to move up the chart and then we'll see this, right? The moon's going to leave the sign of Scorpio. So let's see that. There we go. The moon has entered Sag. This is a different energy, right? Thursday into Friday, since the moon's been in Scorpio, it can feel intense. It can feel a lot of emotional stuff is happening. It can feel like a lot of emotional work needs to be done. But with the moon in Sag, this is a sigh of relief, right? This is a more optimistic energy. This is a more hopeful energy. Sag is a sign that sees the glass half full. Okay, that failed. Okay, I lost that. Okay, fine, I'll try something new. Okay, fine, at least this didn't happen. So that's the Sagittarian energy that is able to see the positive in even the most negative situations. So the moon likes to be there, right? Because our emotions feel good when we can say, okay, you know what, that happened, but still, At least this is positive. So the moon here is about, seeing the brighter side of life, trying to visualize life half full. That's moon in Sag. That's what we must aim for, to be able to see the positive in all things with the moon here. So this is a lighter energy than the moon in Scorpio. So we'll feel a slight more upbeat energy with the moon in Sag over the weekend. And the moon here, so this is what, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Some places this might be afternoon Saturday, other places this might be even 10 p.m. 11 p.m. at night, 10 p.m. or so at night Saturday. So some places the moon will still be in Scorpio all of Saturday as well, till like 9-10 p.m. at night. And the moon here does make an important aspect, right? And what it does is, which is, okay, let's move up the chart and we'll see it. The moon trines Jupiter. Yeah, the moon trines Jupiter. This is 11 p.m. close to midnight Pacific time. Most places this is early morning Sunday or even Sunday at noon, that sort of thing. And the moon is trining Jupiter. Jupiter is a benefic, it is positive, it brings optimism and hope. So this is a moment where we can feel quite optimistic and positive, emotionally speaking. And yeah, and then the moon does move on and it trines Chiron, right? It trines Chiron. So let's see that. Okay, there we go. The moon is at 16 degrees and where's Chiron? There we go. It's trining Chiron, right? And this can mean some emotional healing that comes from within us, but that does not feel as challenging, right, as say the moon opposing Chiron. When it was in Libra, it opposed Chiron, and we spoke about that, right? So this is not like that. This is an easier energy, but this is also about healing ourselves, facing our wounds and healing ourselves, but this is an easier energy. And if you look at the sun right now, right, it is also trining the moon and it is getting ready to trine Chiron, right? Chiron and the sun, it's not exact on Sunday, but it will be very soon. So this is also a healing to our identity that might happen. The sun is our soul, it's the deepest part of our identity, right? The deep identity. It's not always what we project to the world. That's our ascendant, right? That's more Aries. The sun is the ruler of Leo. Leo is how you're truly on the inside, how you're truly in your soul, how you're truly in your heart, right? So this is that healing that we might feel. This is not Sunday, this will happen next week, but I'll just mention it, that can help us heal something deep within our soul, deep within our identity. So we are building up to that. And on Sunday, we have an important event. Mars here is going to square Saturn. It's exact at this time, 1 p.m. in the afternoon Sunday, Pacific time. Some places this might be Sunday evening, other places this might be late night Sunday. So Mars is squaring Saturn. And let me speak a little bit about this. So Mars is this energy that I mentioned that's about going after what you want. Mars is the ruler of Aries, and it's this energy. It's not going to think, it's not going to hold back impulsively, aggressively. It's going to go after what it wants, right? That's Mars. And it is now making a 90-degree angle, a challenging aspect with Saturn. Saturn is the planet of decisions and structure and streamlining, right? But Saturn is also this energy that likes to control, that likes to limit, that likes to restrict, that likes to delay things, right? So this aspect can go one of two ways. In a positive sense, right, it can lead to structured action, right? It can lead to a decision that helps us take action. So it's that energy where we can, we can say, okay, I decide this, I have the energy to take that action. Okay, I'm going to do it in a structured way, in an ordered way. So it can bring that as well. So on the positive side, it can help us really take action for the long run, take structured action, take a decision so that we start taking action, that sort of thing. But every energy has a positive manifestation and a negative manifestation. And the negative of this is a feeling of feeling like, okay, I want to take this action, I feel limited. I want to move forward, I feel restricted. That sort of frustration or wanting to go ahead, but Saturn is saying, no, 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 not yet, not yet. So it can be that energy where you're ready to go for something, you're ready to go after something, you're ready to step into something, you're ready to take that action, but Saturn saying, no, not yet. Restriction, limitations, not yet, delays, right? Wait it out. You're not ready yet. That's what Saturn says. So one of two ways. And if we think about it, right? Not think about it, but another thing I'd like to mention is that Mars and Saturn met up in the month of April, right? I believe it was April 5th, April 4th, 5th, 6th, around then, that Mars and Saturn met up, they conjuncted, and these energies meet up once in 2 years, right? Almost. And they met up in the sign of Aquarius because Saturn is here in the month of April, early April. And a conjunction is usually the starting point of an energy, starting point of an astrological cycle. And now it's reached its first square, right? The first square. So this is an important milestone, an important step, an important transition point, and perhaps something that you felt or thought or started or came about in your lives in the beginning of April, because that's when this Saturn Mars cycle began. So it's connected to beginning April around 4th, 5th, and it's the not the halfway point. The halfway point will be when they oppose, but the first transition point, you can say, in that cycle. So that's that. And let me see if I've missed out on anything. Okay, yeah. So we have Venus here getting ready to oppose Pluto. It's feeling the opposition, right? Venus is feeling the opposition. And Venus is our projects, it's our self-worth, it's our values, it's our skills, it's our relationships. And Pluto is transformation. Pluto is total transformation. And this is a challenging aspect, right? So this is going to happen. Wait, let me see the exact time this happens. So I'm going to move up the chart just to check when this happens, and then we can talk about this. So this is more like Monday, right? But we'll feel it on Sunday as well. Okay. 26:48, 26:58, 26. Okay, close enough. So this is Monday night, 11 p.m. Pacific time. So for most of the world, this is going to be Tuesday, but we'll feel it on Sunday. We'll feel Venus build up to its opposition to Pluto, right? So this can be a very transformative moment for our relationships, for our projects, for our self-worth, values, appearances, and skills. And since it's an opposition, we might need to step out of our comfort zone to be able to transform these Venus things or release emotions connected to these Venus things, right? And now it's reached the halfway point, right? Venus. And what I mean by that is, in the month of December 2021, Venus went retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, and it was conjunct Pluto, right? It was conjunct Pluto. So it was right here with Pluto, and it stayed with Pluto for a while, and now it's reached that halfway point in its cycle of meeting up with Pluto, right? So that was back in the month of December. So maybe the changes, the transformations, the endings, the beginnings, the release, the catharsis connected to our relationships, projects, self-worth, values, and skills has some connection to the month of December 2021. Maybe you started to transform back then, and this is a point where that transformation reaches another step, right? Another milestone, so to speak. So this is that energy, but we will have to step out of our comfort zone to access these changes, to be able to transform because it is a challenging aspect, and what we need to watch out for is feeling slightly low, right? We need to watch out for that, because Pluto can do that, right? It really can. I understand Pluto quite well, so it can really force us to reach a point where there's no other way left but to change, right? It can do that. So that's that, and one or two more things I want to speak about that happen more next week. So the first thing is that Mars here is going to hit the 25-degree spot, right? 25 degrees of Taurus, and we had an eclipse there, right? We had an eclipse there on 15th 16th May. The lunar eclipse that happened in the sign of Scorpio was at 25 degrees of Scorpio, and this is going to happen really close to the full moon in Aquarius, which is happening on 11th of August. And what this means is that Mars, when it goes over, say, wherever there were eclipses, when it crosses that thing, that energy of the eclipse can come back in a certain way, right? It can come back in a certain way. So Mars is going to, what I'm trying to say is that we are still working on what the eclipses brought into our lives in the month of May, and that lunar eclipse was a major ending point. It was with the South Node, right? It was in the nakshatra of Vishakha in Vedic astrology, a fork in the road, so to speak, a major letting go point, a major decision point. And now with Mars going over that spot on the full moon day, almost close to the full moon day, we will probably reach another step in that closing out process. But themes from that eclipse can come back up for review, or come back up in certain ways, or we can just, take the next step in moving on from what started with that eclipse, which is about letting go of a lot of things in our lives and closing out a lot of things in our lives. And so next week, Mars will hit the 25-degree spot where we had the lunar eclipse. The Sun will square Uranus and Mars next week. We have a full moon in Aquarius. Venus is going to change signs next week. So a lot happening next week. And I think this is an important week, especially the days of Thursday into Friday and even Saturday morning, some places, right? That a lot of emotional changes might take place. So we must be mindful of that. On Monday, with the Uranus North Node Mars conjunction, Uranus Mars conjunction come exact. Watching out for anger and aggression is a good thing, and working on changes is the way to navigate this energy. So that's that. Now I hope you enjoyed this weekly. I know I went into a lot of detail this week, but I just felt it was important, considering the fact that the moon is going to be in Scorpio. It is going to conjunct the South Node. It is going to oppose the Uranus North Node conjunction for the first time. So I just thought it's important to go into detail this week, and I will put out the weekly now. I will put out the full moon in Aquarius video with the signs, like with the sun and rising sign. So I hope you enjoyed it, and now I will see you in another video. Have a great week. Bye.